Dan Quinn is the subject of our poll of the day via Metropolitan Moving and Storage today on Grant and Danny. You can go vote right now. 1067 The Fan Twitter account for our poll of the day. Local, long-distance, residential, commercial, 3 decades of best-in-class service and experience. We're asking you, what should be the temperature on Dan Quinn's seat right now? Hot, warm, or cold? 50% of respondents are going warm, and right now, 25% are going hot, and 25% are going cold, which I find interesting because basically you've got half of us that are going to the extremes, and then the other half smack dab in the middle going, this is not very good. But the reason for the question really is, it dawned on me after the game yesterday that there are a lot of people that think that they should make significant changes, that are calling for the head of a coach or, Adam Peters or whatever. And I've been pretty steadfast on this. Last year was so unbelievable and so amazing. I don't mean how it felt as a fan, although that too. But the occurrence, the accomplishment, the idea in year one that you can go on the road to a division winner, Tampa Bay, and win in the playoffs, and then go on the road to a 1 seed in the conference and destroy them in the playoffs. And you can get to an NFC championship game, and you can win 12 games, which this team had not done since 91, and all the things that they did. You got yourself a get-out-of-jail-free card. I thought it would take 2 years to use that card up, all the hole punches you had for like free sandwiches at Sheetz. But they've gotten all the holes punched and all the sandwiches back, and it only took a week. They have used their get-out-of-jail-free card this year. So I think they're back to zero. It was as if, Danny, they went from like a 0 to a 15, and this year's been so bad that they're back to a 0 because it's been minus 15. It's the inverse campaign. So I'm not firing anybody, even though this is a fireable season. But you're starting next year now where you better not get off to a bad start.
Oh, yeah.
You better not be 0-3 or 1-4. Because as far as I'm concerned, like there's going to be people. It sounds like maybe our guy Sheehan is this way. I think Adam Peters is probably this way. There are others. But there's going to be people that go, dude, 2024 was so amazing. Like if they're 2-5 next year. We were just in the NFC Championship game a year and a half ago. I played that game this year. I will not play that game next year because next year is going to be, last year you were a joke. You get a year like this after the NFC title game berth. You don't get 2 as far as I'm concerned. So this offseason, it's time to put some hay in the barn. And starting in September, you've used your get-out-of-jail-free card. I don't care about 2024 anymore at that point. That fluky, incredible run led by your quarterback. Don't care. This year is the past being the prologue.
Yeah, you zeroed out to your point. I think it's more significant, though, because it is the most recent sample. And everything they thought was wrong. I think that matters so much. And everything they got away with, they tried to do again, and it didn't work. I don't mean like criminally. That's not what I'm talking about. But just decision-making. That we're not going to go young. We're not going to use draft picks. We're not going to build and take our time to build a foundation and do something sustainable. We're going to take a cheat code kind of shortcut, get a bunch of short-term aging veterans for cheap, and try to build the culture because they wanted to do that to sort of establish who they are and who they wanted to be. And every one of those things basically this year had the worst-case scenario, blew up in their face. There were no adjustments, no answers, no counter punches, etc. So that weighs slightly more heavily for me than the glory of last year, which part of it's recency bias, but it's also because it is more recent, right? In other words, you didn't believe last year when the year started. If you take a truth serum in your heart of hearts, are you NFC Championship game good in training camp? There's no way decision makers would have said yes. They'll spout their cliches in public and go, hey, we're going to do it one game at a time and see what happens to us. And we're going to compete our butts off. And, you'll like where we're at the end. You guys will be proud of us. They didn't think they were one of the final 4 teams, given that roster and given all the questions. There's no way because they were a 7-win team with Jaden Daniels and Lucky Charms up their tuchus, right? All these decisions led to this. So because of that, this is now weighing more heavily. So therefore, it's not a cold seat for me. It's in between warm and hot. Again, I'm not firing anybody right now this minute. I would not fire Dan Quinn right now. I would let him know.
Let me ask you this.
This is so bad, and your decisions, and I would tell Adam Peters too, you guys didn't do anything at the trade deadline. You guys didn't do anything at any point in time other than way too late make Joe Witt change seats. Nobody got benched. Unbelievable how complacent you are. You don't get to be complacent anymore.
Let me ask you this. First of all, have there been any sirens today?
Could you guys hear that over the air?
I mean, if they haven't heard these, I don't know what to say. Are we right near a hospital?
We are in, I don't know where that was, but it was close.
I'm used to doing shows downtown in cities. I know that there are occasionally sirens.
Sure.
I mean, we have heard a lot of sirens.
So we are actually next to a hospital.
That's
I walked past one yesterday on my long walk back from the stadium.
Okay.
That was separate from you guys.
Oh, that was
back from
funny.
the stadium,
That's a story.
which is a story we can tell tomorrow. But
Yeah.
but yeah, there is a hospital that is probably like 3 or 4 blocks over.
We were all in a skywalk, which was very warm. Darius got trapped outside the stadium and couldn't come back in and had to walk all the way back.
He texted a group and said, I'm outside. The response from 4 different people at the same time was, oh no.
See you at the hotel, buddy. 800-636-1067 is the number. The question for you, it's the Metropolitan Moving and Storage poll of the day. What should the temperature of Dan Quinn's seat be? Hot, warm, or cold? So, Danny, you were trending between warm and hot.
Yeah.
If you get fired at 100, okay, and we're going to say 0 means you are on your way to being coach of the year. You are
Right, you're 7
Mike
straight.
Vrabel
Yeah.
and Ben Johnson,
Mhm.
right? Shane Steichen earlier, like in week 4 or whatever. Where are you? I think anything above 50, like warm starts at 50, you get fired at 100.
Mhm.
Where are you?
67.
Wow.
So 2 reasons. One, because 6'7". The second is I am at 6'7". I'm at 67. Like, this is so unacceptable. Everyone needs to get to that point.
I'm at a 55 to 59. And look, I've made no bones about the fact when they brought in DQ, that was not my favorite thing that they've done. I thought they had a really good first year, and I give him a lot of credit for being a culture builder, and I thought he deserved a lot of credit for last year. But this is just the erasing of what went well last season. And as I said, zeroing back out. When you have the type of year that he did, there's no change after the following season. I think you could probably almost go like 2-15, which heck, they're gonna get close to that, it looks like. But if they lose out and lose 12 in a row, they're not gonna make a change, and they shouldn't. Again, that's the get out of jail free card, but all bets are off the table. You don't lose 12 in a row in this sport. The teams that go 0-16 do that. Nobody else really does. We'll get to your calls next on how hot the seat should be for Dan Quinn after getting to the NFC title game in year 1 last year. This is The Fan.